Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Let's welcome these players out. First out, he reached the quarterfinals here in the World Singles last year, world ranked number 13. Please welcome Jonathan Ross. And of course, playing Jonathan, the 2014 Scottish International Open champion, world ranked number 3. Please welcome Nick Brett.
So good luck to both players in this last 16 match, the first in the last 16 section of the tournament. Don't forget that we are hoping to hear from you via Twitter. Get in touch with us, hashtag your tweets, BBC Bowls. And the men waiting to answer your tweets are in the commentary box for us this morning, Greg Harlow and David Corkill.
Thank you, Rishi. It's
Jack length 25 metres.
always a strange sort of game when Jonathan Ross is involved, because we always feel that this is a player who's got the talent to win a WBT event and get to the final of one, but it just hasn't worked out for him for some reason. And I don't know, Greg's been around a long time, and it's a bit of an enigma, really.
Yes, it's a strange one, really, because I think Jonathan's probably reached more quarterfinals than anybody else on the tour. But he hasn't converted any of those quarterfinals into tournament wins. As we say, maybe this is his year. Certainly one year it will be. But he's certainly up against a man in form today. Obviously, I play a lot of bowls with Nick, and the last 18 months he's been absolutely on fire.
Absolutely, and it's another good reason to have you in with me, because you know Nick so well, and we thought this would be a tidy little game for you.
Should be quite easy for me. I should know every shot he's going to play
exactly.
10 seconds before he does.
Exactly, yes. I can rest easy this morning. It's a tough draw for Jonathan, there's no doubt about that. But you're right, a quarter-final expert, really. Early running ball, and he's bang on target. Didn't get the movement of the jack he wanted. I know Jonathan very well, of course, from the days of playing at the Belfast Indoor Club before he moved to Scotland. I've played against him many, many times. As I say, a prodigious talent, but time is running on. He's getting older, and
Two green.
he keeps getting draws like Nicky Brett. It's not going to help.
Going to be another runner here, I think. Not bad. Is he going to bend?
Yeah, he's got the jack. Now, where's it going? Well, I'm not sure if that's going to make it. Very close. Yep, down on the respot.
Pretty much a one-bowl shootout now for this first end.
One green.
I think within 2 metres of the jack, so...
I think that's called, as the first end, settling into the game extremely quickly.
Yeah, he's pretty much played all 4 of his bowls within a foot of the jack. That's a great opening end. Jonathan still has 1 left, though. He could still win the end.
He's not going to make the trip, but he'll get second.
And probably be happy with a second, considering Nick opened up with 4 great bowls. One's not a disaster on the first end.
One shot, Nick Brett.
There's always a large crowd here at Potter's Leisure Resort. That's guaranteed for every session. And I bet you're glad to see it, Greg.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe numbers are up again this year. Every year we think the numbers can't keep increasing, but they do.
Track length,
I
26
think more
metres.
days have been sold out than not this year, which is fantastic.
Good for the players, of course.
Absolutely far better atmosphere to have a full stadium than a half empty. Nick certainly showing no nerves. He's straight on the length. First 5 bowls have been there and thereabouts.
Well, Jonathan's forte is very much down on the draw ball. He's very much a draw player. He plays weight shots, but they're controlled. Doesn't have the big heavy drive. I don't think Nick has wasted a ball yet.
Certainly not. And we're feeling very comfortable at the moment.
Good adjustment. It's not the shot, but a very useful ball.
Nick drawing in, just looking to miss his own bowl. If he can just miss his own, get to the red. Absolutely perfect. Look at that.
Oh, dear. Well, now 2 balls can go on a running shot, and I think that's exactly what Jonathan will play, but it's now 7 balls that Nick Brett's played, and he's more or less put them exactly where he wants.
Yeah, I think this will be a weighted shot from Jonathan. Looking to remove the 2 green bowls.
Oh, that's going to go quick. Yeah. Oh, he's got the last ball. Well, Nick, what do? Do you put one in to make sure the 2 balls can't go out, or do you cover the back or the respot position where you think the jack's going to go?
Putting another one in. Ideally, you'd like to drop just in front of the jack, or turn the jack through. Looks like he's trying to turn the jack through.
Well, red ball would be good. Oh, yes. I think all 3 can still go. But he's prepared to lose a shot down in a deep position.
Pressure's on Jonathan here. It's gone a bit quicker. Can he hold?
Got something off his own. Well, he wasn't far away, but he didn't get the result he was looking for. I thought he was quicker than that, actually. He didn't push through it as much as I thought he might.
3 shots, Nick Brett.
Well, a very good start for Nicky Brett, and it's remarkable to think that only maybe about 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, Jonathan Ross would have been odds-on favourite for this match because of his experience on the portable rink and his consistency of staying in the top 16. But Nicky has been prolific in working his way up the ranking list. With every year we see a renewed confidence in the man. It's probably fair to say, Greg, and also a maturity in his play, because you would remember when Nicky was attacking everything in sight.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think like a lot of players, obviously they qualify onto the blue portable rink and they come and play their normal club game. And for one reason or another, the rink doesn't always allow you to play the conversion shots. which is a big part of Nick's game, and it has taken him a few years to realise sometimes you've just got to rein yourself in, draw yourself out of trouble or drive yourself out of trouble. He now has the tactics spot on, and as you say, he's not only competing in every event, he's now winning 1, 2, 3 events, so he's certainly a challenge in every event he plays in.
1 green.
Well, that's exactly what Johnson has to do.
1 red.
Compete with Nicky with the first 2 deliveries. Nice close with this.
Great effort. Great effort.
Well, he's now got back position. Hard shot to play that, Greg, ball on the jack, just to move it 2 feet.
Yes, it is. Yes, I mean, it's easy to play with more weight, but then there's nothing deep, so there's no value. He might still just try the draw. If he can get a touch off the jack high bowl, can drop in for shot. Close last time. No. Just under. Anything on for Jonathan? No, not really, I don't think. Just a dead draw to try and score a second shot. Nice to get on the card. It would be nice to get on with a double. Not a lot of room, but a chance. Good try. 4 good bowls.
Yeah, so it wasn't an easy spare shot.
One shot, Jonathan Ross.
Well, we can still get in touch with us via Twitter using hashtag BBC Bowls, and it's been very popular, I have to say. But we'll do our best to answer your questions, and if you have anything for Greg, just whiz it on through.
Shot length 28.5 metres.
To Nick, but it's certainly a good standard, David, being played by both players here.
Yes, it's, as I say, Jonathan very much a draw shot player, but he has got the running ball, and it's going to be that little battle of the first 2 deliveries. Jonathan, one of the few players that's represented 2 countries at international level. Played for Ireland for many years, moved to Scotland and was selected for them.
Still just enough room to draw a shot there. Coming in from a good angle. Just needs to reach.
Well, this is a big advantage now for Jonathan. 2 in, Nicky's short with 2 balls, so no back position to attack the head. Very narrow target anyway.
Needs one right on top. Needs one right on top.
Good again.
Free red.
I think Nick is attacking. Yep. Forehand runner. Damage limitation.
Oh, that was unlucky. Needed to get past that front green one. Could have easily have taken the 2 reds out. However, you can see a bit more of it now.
Yeah, I'll definitely go again with the last one. Try and remove 2 red bowls, drop a 1, move on.
Not sure about that, Greg.
No, I thought pretty confident he would have dropped in for 4 there. Might just change Nick's mind now. He might try and draw this. See which way he's shaping up to draw now. Just released a little bit of pressure there. Jonathan really needed to get that 4th one in to keep Nick under pressure.
Still, after a full drive, he has to try and get down to very, very close weight. It's never easy. That's why he's just dropped through.
3 shots, Jonathan Ross.
Yeah, you'd have to say the change of jack length from Jonathan there certainly paid dividends for him. All square. Mistake from Jonathan here, though. Looking to play a full-length jack. Dropped it in the ditch. He's having a laugh, but he knows that could be costly. Nick will pop it back onto the shorter jack length where he's been rolling them in.
Shot length 26.5 metres.
Well, when you've just picked up a 3, 28.5 metres, the last thing you wanted to do was lose the jack. Nick's gone 26.5.
That is really unusual, isn't it? Because with a 3-metre tee, you've got that 3 metres to play with. So it was a really bad cast, to be fair.
Something I've noticed in this year's championship, a lot of the players have lost jacks, and that's almost unheard of. Maybe the jack's just scooting over the rink a little bit, whereas it's a little bit heavier for the bowls. Much lighter and smaller, of course. And that's the way he started off the first few ends, so normal service resumes.
1 green.
Nick's so quick on the mat, the shot clock barely even gets started. Homing in for a second. Can he get just in front of his own, cover the jack? Perfect.
And so a bit of extra weight there just to make sure he was arriving.
2 green.
Makes it very difficult for Jonathan. Needs a little bit more than a draw this time, I think.
The angle's there to take the 2 balls out, but he has to hit it absolutely perfect. The deep position's against him. He doesn't want movement on the jack.
He's going to be backhand, just reaching. Turn his own bowl in, slide inside.
It's a hard
Trail
shot.
the jack. It is a hard shot.
Yeah.
Very close. Has he got the weight?
No, it's the sort of shot, Greg, you get sort of sucked into, isn't
Yep.
it? You know it's the right shot to play, but he probably needed another yard on that.
Yeah, just underplayed it. The line was good enough, actually, but he just underplayed it. Yep. He's doing a practice swing now, telling himself, just didn't get through it. I mean, the form Nick is in, I'll be very surprised if he doesn't add another here. Got a great deal of room. Touch of swing.
Well, it's going to be very close for the third, but the ball's leaning against the other one.
Yeah.
Be a tricky measure.
Remove this in.
Looks a very, very close measure. Really is not a lot in this.
3 shots, Nicky Brett.
Well, it's a good reply from Nick after losing a 3 to get a 3 back.
Track length 26.5 metres.
There's a good reaction there from Nick. I think that jack moved on a little bit further than what he expected.
And going back, the miscast of the jack punished 3 shots.
Well, the tweets have been coming in, and Jan Havlik, I'll give you this one, Greg, informs us that Nick Brett is 7-1 for the title.
Okay.
Do you think it's a good bet at that?
I think it's a very reasonable bet. Obviously, only time will tell whether it's a great bet or not, but yeah, certainly a good bet. I think there are probably better value bets out there, but maybe a bit more risky.
Yes, as always, when it comes to betting on sports events, there's always the risk. But I think that's a bit generous at 7-1, I have to say. And we've had another one in from Dave Hither about players playing exhibitions. Well, exhibitions have always been available to players over the years. Some clubs would ask to a player to come down to play maybe against their club champion, or ask a couple of players to come down for an exhibition game to open the club, or for some other special arrangement or special occasion. So yes, they do.
Two green.
Jonathan unlucky there, drawn in onto the jack. Just fell away, still 2 down. Nick slides a 3rd in here. Jonathan's under the pump. Slap of the thigh from Nick indicates he's probably short.
Well, he's short, but hasn't helped Jonathan on the backhand, so he might look at this in the forehand.
I think there's still enough room to draw the backhand. He can't take the 2 bowls out on a drive, but I think he can still get round enough to draw.
Difficulty with the forehand is very, very narrow, so he is such a good draw shot player.
And if he can get a touch on the jack, he could make a couple for himself. He's in the area. He's in the area. Has he got anything?
Yeah, he has. He's got the gap. Oh,
Close, very close.
Without the touch on the green ball, he would have been fine. But that edge just allowed him to go through the gap. Well, Jonathan, by his own admission, is not good when it comes to measures.
One shot, Nick Brett.
It's just the one. Took one off. A few threes bouncing about in that scorecard. Unusual in a tight game.
Shot length 26 metres.
The players not taking any time at all, really. They're getting on with the match, and we're on the critical end. 7, less than half an hour into the match.
Jonathan, I hear, would love to turn the jack round the corner. Great effort.
One red.
Yes, he gave himself every chance with that one. Jack or ball would have been good. He's in a good receiving position. Very similar shot for Nick Brett. As I said, in a good receiving position. Jack all the way through to the red ball.
One red.
No more than a draw available for Nick. If he could just get down to the jack, possibly squeeze it over to his own green. Certainly not easy, this shot. Great approach. Can he keep running? Can he get a squeeze on the jack?
Well,
Great effort.
2 touchers in a row, but absolutely nothing for them except a very good second shot.
1 red.
Jonathan will be very happy to score, though. 4 down. You need to score going into the last 2 ends. Don't fancy his chances of getting another one, though.
I don't think he'll be too brave. Can't afford to give it away. Literally got to draw within an inch to add another. If he's inch heavy, he'll be 1 down. Very narrow line. Yeah.
Say his weight was good.
1 shot, Jonathan Ross. Track length 28.5 metres.
2 ends to play. 8-5 realistically. John probably needs a 2 this end. Give himself a fighting chance into the last end.
Well, the favoured long jack for Jonathan Ross, and once again, a really good first bowl. So
this is the direction, and this is the length that he played when he scored the 3 early in the set. He'd love to repeat that. Nick's not having any of it, though. He's not dropping too short this time. Decent first bowl in.
and even better with this one. Well, 3 or 4 years ago, Nick Brett would have been down at that the forehand with weight.
He certainly would have.
Different sort of player now. Well, it gives him a shoulder to work off.
Your front bowl 2 inches.
Moving to the forehand, dropping short. Now that opens up a chance for Nick. He can afford to be up to the last, or the ball's just behind the jack, try and fall off them.
Certainly on a good track. Just overplayed, has he? Just overplayed.
Oh, he's taken away that rest as well.
Just to draw either hand for Jonathan. Going back to his favoured backhand in this direction. Needs to get this in, needs to get the pressure on. Looks good. That's a great bowl.
Well, 3 down and not an easy draw by any means.
I'm not sure he's going to draw this time, David.
I think he will go for the damage limitation and try and get into it.
Well, I think he'll also be thinking if he can hit the shot ball onto the jack, he will score and win the set. Whereas the draw, there's not a lot of room for the draw. I'm pretty sure he'll drive here. Any hit's a good hit.
Well, he's in the area.
Perfect.
Oh, yes, he got the jack movement. That's exactly what he needed. And he's going to win the set, as you said, Greg. You know, getting into it was going to be
One shot, Nick Brett.
really beneficial.
Had to be done though.
Absolutely. As soon as that jack moved to go a single, it's almost guaranteeing the set.
And there was nothing Jonathan could do to protect that either. He'd done all he could do, put Nick under pressure.
Jack length 27.5 metres.
He played a really good hand.
It couldn't have done any more. Jonathan's short bowl obviously takes him out of the game really, so he's just trying to promote it in. That'll be that.
2 shots in the first set, Nicky Brett.
A little bit of a strange end to the first set, but obviously Jonathan needed a 4, so he's just trying to play a promotion shot. Once he'd lost his bowl, could only score 3, so that's the end of the set.
Yes, the short ball was always a killer. No choice there. Had to go through it. In the end, a comfortable 11-5 scoreline, but realistically, I think it's fair to say that Nicky, that one bowl that he played in the previous end to get the shot, secured the set for him.
Jack length 26.5 metres.
First end of the second set. I always like to keep it nice and tight.
Yeah, 1 green.
But we have had a little tweet coming in from, well, one of our friends who normally plays in this event and tries to qualify, Greg, Tim Stone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he's
Very
asking
good.
about the bowls the players are using.
Okay, Nick will be using the Henselite Tiger, size 4 heavy, and Jonathan will be Taylor Ace again, 4 heavy. The majority of the players tend to go size 4, and both these two play with those.
Lots of bowls available, of course, and some of them are using the older sets, which
I'm out call.
have maybe a slightly different profile on them.
Yeah, Nick definitely. He's using one of the original sets from the pool. And it's pretty much a set that Paul Foster uses when he's green, Alex Marshall uses, Ian Bond in the past. I've used them myself as well. So they've been on the rink a few times.
Jonathan going, reaching for it.
Needs to bend a touch.
Well, I previously said that Jonathan can play, or has played, for 2 countries, and simply based on the residency policy of living in Scotland and playing in Scotland, and really for a while actually he was living in Scotland, but still it was to do with club affiliation, and he was still playing for Ireland, but that changed after a period of time. Some countries have got a residency policy of 3 years. Nick on the respot. Well, he can't see that respot from the mat, and he's actually covered it. So that's the residency policy for most of the countries in the UK.
Looks closer this time. Got the shot.
Well, ball on the ball was what he was looking for, but movement of the jack has given him a single.
One shot, Jonathan Ross.
But just keep the tweets coming. We will answer a lot more of those this afternoon.
Little shake of the head there from Jonathan to Nick, as if to say that wasn't the way I planned it, but I'm taking it.
Track length 28.5 metres.
Good second bowl there from Jonathan. Also gives him a little chance with his third. Opens up a few angles. Nick will be looking just to pass his own green. Finish a few inches behind the jack. Ideal position. Not quite reaching. He'll be disappointed with that one.
2 nearest bowls. Nicky's bowl, 2-inch gap. Your bowl is 2 inches short of jack high.
Looks like a backhand shot really. He's got 2 or 3 little assists if he can get either side of the red one. Needs to turn a little bit, needs to swing in.
Well, it's more the width than anything
Yeah.
else.
Great try.
Wonderful line for that shot. He just didn't get through it.
Yeah, and he knows it. Nick, yeah, like I say, Nick probably swap to the back end and try and play the same shot now. Try to get in there first.
Oh, it's a good home. Making sure he was through the head. Jonathan needs the ball now.
Yeah, slightly harder shot, I think, for Jonathan now. As you say, he needs probably a good metre of pace to push the green out. No jack movement. Very interesting. Very interesting. Perfect.
He certainly needed the ball, and that's exactly what he managed to get. Hasn't pushed it all the way through, but looks good for a double.
One red and a measure.
Nick will play a similar shot, maybe a little bit quicker. He's got the back position, so he wants jack movement. He'll be looking. He needs to get inside the red. Good
One
try.
shot, Jonathan Ross.
Good end of bowls.
Well, this match definitely not over. It was very close in the first set. The scoreline didn't reflect that. But Nicky Brett really knows he's in a match.
Jack length 28.5 metres.
Jonathan's favourite length, 28.5 metres.
Very good. Great reply from Nick.
One green. Oh, distance, sorry. 7 inches gap.
Seven inches of adjustment needed. That's not a bad effort.
It's very close.
One green.
Still on the green, but a lot of danger for Nick. Yep. Change the forehand. Much safer there.
Yeah. Looking just to turn his own bowl down into a safe, solid position. Very close. Can he just get an edge? Oh, well, didn't see it that way.
One green.
He's held on to the shot. Still, better to play it before Jonathan did.
Jonathan sticking to the draw. Can he run? Just going to give up. Just looking to repeat his last bowl, really. Slide past his own, rest the back red bowl. Yeah.
There's options here. Still there and available in the backhand using that green ball as a shoulder.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Just a draw. Any touch on the jack will make two. As you say, could get an assist on the way in off the last Nicky Brett bowl. Doesn't quite look here, does he?
Well, Nick got a chance here because he's looks like he's got a clear enough line to the red ball to be able to turn it over once.
Yes, and there's no danger either, so can afford to give this a go. Looks very interested in it. Can he get back?
One shot, Nick Brett.
Well, it was a very deliberate shot to try and get to it, but as usual on that forehand, once you go slightly over the line, it's really difficult to get back. But Brett on the card in the second set with a single.
Track length 25.5 metres.
Your bowl, 15 inches.
Not bad bowls, but for the standard of this game, slightly loose, to be fair. I'm sure the third and fourth bowls will improve. There we go, Nick's not let me down. Bang in on top, well played.
Yes, he's brought the jack out into the open now, though.
One green.
It's going to be readily available for Jonathan to play a little bit of weight to it, if he wishes.
Last bowl, exactly jack high.
Can afford a positive draw. Turn the jack, turn the bowl. Got the line for it. Perfect draw. Well played.
One red.
And the little touch on the jack has nearly taken all the other bowls out of the game.
Well, Nick will be looking for this because the ball will go out clean. In the area. Got it.
Yep, great shot.
Played that well. It wasn't easy, but the movement of the jack brought his other two balls into play. That was a very good shot from Nick Brett. It's not an easy shot to play in that backhand.
Can Jonathan replace the bowl that's just been taken out? Line's good enough. Nick's moving forward as if to say, yep, well played. Certainly is. Bang on top again. Turned into a very good end of bowls.
One shot, Jonathan Ross.
Well, some very, very good balls at the end of that particular end. It was a good ball from Jonathan Ross because he really didn't want to lose a double out of that one. Jack scooting along again,
Jack
but
length
safe enough.
28.5 metres.
these players are using strong bias balls. A lot of experimentation this year because the rink is different. New underlay and top carpet, and it's heavier than normal. The lines are different, so even the top 16 players are having to put a bit more time in to find out the right bowls to suit the conditions.
Six-inch gap.
You're going to get back, Nick. Touch of bend. Great bowl. Great bowl.
Double touch.
One green.
Hit the ball the first time and then it rocked back, pushing him closer to the jack. He's working hard out there.
Yep, he knows he's in a match. Jonathan's still just looking for the dead draw. Road is good. It's a touch wider line this time. Still coming back.
Oh my goodness me, that
Yeah.
that's swept back from a degree of height, as we would say.
Two
I
green.
think he actually got a touch more turn from going wider there. I think that's probably what he's saying to himself.
Once again, Jonathan under a bit of pressure with his last bowl. Just didn't have the weight. Well, this is going to bring Nick Brett back onto level terms. If he can make the spare, he'll just go ahead, but it's not an easy one.
Now, ideally, he'd like to be just drawing a, a length bowl. Doesn't want to move the jack. Line looks pretty good. Great attempt.
It's going to be close, but Nick dropped his head a little bit. I'm not sure if he's made it. Nope.
Two shots. Nick Brett.
Two it is.
Jack length 27 metres.
We're on the sixth end, and the match has just been going about an hour. These guys rattling through pretty quickly. It's usually the case when Nick Brett's involved.
Yeah, he must be the quickest player on tour, I would guess. A very high standard match as well from both players. Away.
Bowler Jack was the target.
You know what they say back in the clubs, holes for bowls, and that was certainly the case there for Nick. Very unlucky. Any touch on Jack or bowl, he'd be sitting in a good position. Does he go again, or does he revert back to the draw?
He's probably playing a very similar bowl. This looks a little bit wider, so he's got a chance of the red ball with this. It wasn't much over the wicket, Greg. It was only a foot or so. Didn't get back the same.
It looked a decent line as well. It was quite a surprise, to be honest, that that didn't get back. I don't know whether Jonathan might now swap to that forehand to try and get in there first. Yeah, it looks that way. It's the same line as Nick, doesn't it? So I would say he'll struggle to get back as well. Opportunity for Nick here. I think he might go looking for that bowl. And he is, I think.
No, it's just a matter of getting down to it from the wide line.
Just doesn't want to let him down, does it?
No, shake of the head. I reckon he thought he had that all the way.
I think he did. He definitely held it in on the line, so he was on a narrow running line and he was reaching, but the ball just didn't break back for him. Can Jonathan get in for a double? Doesn't look like it, does it? I think Jonathan got away with that, to be honest. He played one good bowl that end and scored one shot, so take the one and run.
More importantly for Jonathan, he's managed to get hold of the mat. So he'll be going for his 28.5 metres again.
Jack length 28.5 metres.
He's played pretty good on all lengths, to be fair, but he has played exceptionally well on this length, especially in this direction. Good opening bowl again. Again, two pretty decent bowls from Jonathan, but he probably knows not quite close enough to score the shot. Nick homing in with his second bowl.
Well, little touch on the jack.
One red.
Still pretty good for Nick.
Yeah, from the
Slightly
mat,
in
that
front,
probably looked
half an inch
really
in
good
front
for
of
Nick.
Jack
He probably thought he was picking it up solid, but just slid under. Jonathan needs to get another in, though. Looks very vulnerable, just the one in there.
One red.
Oh, he's got a chance with this.
Perfect.
Look good all the way. Just put a little bit of extra weight on the same line and
2 green.
held beautifully for him.
Yeah, it's left Jonathan in a spot of bother as well, to be
Timeout
honest.
called.
Just a little turn on the
Jonathan has
jack has
3
hid it
timeouts
away,
remaining.
and his own short bowl is probably hampering any running shot that he's trying to work out, to be honest. Scratching his head.
Well, there's a danger putting the green ball onto the jack and running it all the way through, and you could lose more that way. And
Yeah, it certainly could, because both shot bowls are live. But there doesn't look a very attractive draw available.
the alternative is just to try and draw it and close it down so that Nick doesn't score any more than 2.
I'm assuming he's going to try and win off his jack high bowl. Coming well, needs to miss everything and run.
Well, as soon as he tapped that ball, it was going to stop him, but he had pretty close weight. It was a good effort. It's a closer third shot.
5 for 2, Nicky.
Nick just caught a good effort again, but
2 shots, Nick Brett.
didn't make the third. Good game, this quality match, I have to say.
Jack length 26.5 metres.
It's so easy to drop short in that forehand. Jonathan, throughout his career, has always preferred the backhand.
Realistically, I think Jonathan's got to win both ends, because if he loses this end, to find a 3 or a 4 on the last end is probably too much.
That came storming back from the high line. You said earlier, Greg, maybe there's a bit of extra swing out there the wider you go.
Nicky's bowl.
I think there is
10 inch gap.
sometimes.
And that's the problem. It's only sometimes. It's just not that consistent.
Yep.
Well, this game has been going for an hour and 10 minutes, and a short game, but it's really based on the fact that we've got 2 quick players out there. Shot clock hasn't really come into it.
If Nick could beat his own bowl here, he'll be in a very, very strong position. Just slipping through. all about finding a good pace. Jonathan's been hitting the line all morning. Needs to find a good pace right now.
Certainly looking better. Just held off a little bit.
One green.
Still green, I believe.
Careful draw by Nick. Try and make another, give himself a little bit of a cushion going into the last end. Gentle, gentle, doesn't want to give it away. Oh, I think he might have done that. It's hard to tell for us, but...
Yeah, look at that reaction.
oh dear, that was a mistake.
By Nick's reaction, I think he believes he's given it away.
Cardinal
shot.
sin. Really is. It's just don't give it away with your last bowl. Certainly don't give it away your last bowl on the 8th end.
Any touch on the jack for Jonathan, he could make 3.
Reaching, and I think they might be measuring this one.
Nick's got a pretty good eye.
Yes, he's very accurate. Jonathan hasn't got a clue, but
Nick's asked for a measure.
you know, if you ask Jonathan about measures, he would tell you he's not good at them.
By Nick's reaction, the way he threw his head back, I think he believes he's down, but it must be close. If not, he would have conceded.
Measure for shot.
Well, this is massive, because if Nick Brett scores this, Jonathan has to find a 3 in the last hand, and if Jonathan gets it, well, he just has to win the end. It was a good bowl by Nick, his last bowl, in terms of the way he played. He was just very unlucky. He got the jack full.
One shot, Jonathan Ross.
Wow. Big Brett's reaction is confirmed. Jonathan Ross lifts a single. Well, this is not a given. 28.5 metre jack length will be arriving.
Jack length 28.5 metres.
Good opening bowl from Jonathan. Probably left 8 or 9 inches available to Nick.
Just sneaked in front.
One green. The gap on Nicky's bowl is 8 inches.
Just makes it slightly harder as well, because see, Jonathan's got to come around the green. Doesn't want to turn it into the jack. Great effort.
Both these players, as I say before.
Has he got the run in?
They're both using strong bias bowls, so they can come around,
One
but
green.
that probably kills it off now. Safe enough for Nick to play it, not an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. That little plant's good for Nick. That just pushes him in even closer. Ideally, he'd like to miss it though. Great attempt. Great attempt. Oh, well played.
Oh,
Perfect.
side toucher. Jonathan will think about this now in the forehand runner. He has to attack it.
2 green.
His plant is looking good.
Yeah, he must make contact with something to change the head to give himself a chance with the last bowl. Cannot afford to miss with this bowl. Even if he doesn't get the shot, he must change.
Timeout called.
Must change the head. Must open the head up.
Jonathan has 2 timeouts remaining.
He'd like, obviously, to trail the jack past. But if he fails that, he must make contact with his own red bowls to open the head up, to give himself a chance with the last bowl. Cannot afford to miss with this.
Well, as we thought, he's down the forehands, a bit of a given what shot he's going to play, but it's all to do with the connections.
Not played it with a lot of weight.
Oh, that's going to swing really quickly. Well, he's really in trouble now with no back position.
I think Nick will just go a metre past the jack. Because I think all Jonathan's got is the little trail now. Nick might even block the hand. He's got that option as well.
Well, they seem to get it away in a positive manner.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to get a metre past.
Cover ball in.
Yep.
He's
It's good enough.
done his work with the first 2 on this particular occasion, but say controlled now to Jonathan, for Jonathan to try and turn the jack, and
Yeah.
really no other shot available because the
Yeah, literally, you've got to play with a foot, 18 inches of weight, and just turn the jack past the green. But this is an incredibly tough shot to stay in the tournament.
Well, he's given it a go. Very close. Oh, just slightly on the high most of the
One
way.
shot,
And
second set and the match. Nick
that
Brett.
was a really good effort by Jonathan Ross. And Nicky Brett will take the single to win this match, 11-5 and 6-5. And it really was a very, very good game. Jonathan Ross played extremely well, but it's the world number 3 who takes the match. He's his way into the next round, and I have to say he was good value for it. Played very well indeed.
Absolutely, and Jan's bet's looking even better.
7-1.
7-1.
Jan, get the money on. Well, the crowd just leaving after no one moved during this match. They had a royally entertained this morning. Nicky Brett, well, he played well, I have to say. 11-5 certainly did not reflect by any means the game, as you can see here. Jonathan Ross with the last ball, just easing the green ball out, keeping the pressure on Nick Brett. But he was coming back with some lovely weight shots, and once again, Jonathan on the draw, bang on the jack. That's where his strength was. As we see Nick Brett with his 3rd delivery, pushing the ball, edging the jack through for a double. And this is a Nick Brett very unlucky ball on the 8th end, where he gave the shot away to level the scores for Jonathan. And Jonathan just failing with the last ball. Edge of the jack, but he needed it full. And he makes his exit at the 2nd round.